There's a pattern in older men nobody talks about. Most men don't lose their edge after 40, they lose their witness. And the fact he's still standing there says more about his strength than any story he's ever told. But here's the part most people miss. Those late nights alone don't break a man. They sharpen him. And that sharpness isn't pain. It's proof he's still in the fight. And somewhere in those unhurried hours, a question shows up. What is my life supposed to be now? A fair question, a strong one. After dinner, he steps into the backyard. No demands, no performance. He steps outside for a moment and feels the cool air hit his face. The kind of clarity a room can't give him. Back inside, he notices his shoes sitting apart on the floor. Not messy, just honest about how long he's been running on autopilot. It simply means he's finally listening to himself again. Here's the twist most men never expect. That question he keeps hearing isn't a warning. It's a doorway. And clarity comes faster at this age than it ever did when he was young. Let's start right there. The emotional gym, rebuilding strength inside. You can tell a lot about a man by what he does when the house finally settles for the night. Most men ignore the one signal they shouldn't. And the best part is simple. Older men bounce back faster than they think once they take that first honest step. So he shifts the approach, noticing the tension, cutting the story, taking one small action that grounds the system, a short walk, one clean line in a notebook, or just sitting in a chair that's been waiting for him longer than anyone realizes. Even small awareness gives older men an advantage. They rise faster than regret ever could. Not because life changed, but because he finally stopped stepping away from himself. That's the moment life starts cooperating again. The golden discipline diet, taking back control. A man can run a company, fix a crisis, carry a family, yet somehow loses control of the smallest thing in his life, his own routine. By this age, that gap between what he handles and what he controls becomes his best chance to reset the terms. Most men miss this. It's not about restriction, it's about returning to yourself. The older he gets, the more chances he has to design a rhythm that actually fits the man he is now. Men his age don't need a motivational speech, just one honest morning where the coffee stops judging them. Change starts to land when the body finds a rhythm it can trust again. And the good part is this. Men his age build momentum faster than they expect once they pick one small win. Discipline doesn't shout, it just wins quietly. And no man is broken for slipping. He just needs one steady rule he can actually keep. And this is where the emptier nights turn into steady mornings. A simple rule kept consistently becomes a lifeline. No phone before sunrise. A clean meal twice a day. 30 minutes of movement that reminds the body it still has direction. Sometimes the win is not adding more hours, but choosing one clear standard he can proudly keep. His focus tightens in a way he has not felt since his earlier years. That's when mornings stop feeling like repairs and start feeling like momentum. What used to drain him now strengthens him, because direction always sharpens a man faster than comfort. If a line in this chapter steadied you a little, tap the like. It helps this work reach another man who might need it tonight. Keep that clarity close. The next move hits a man where it counts, how he spends the hours he can never get back. The digital time matrix, escaping empty hours. Evenings can quietly become the strongest part of a man's day when he chooses them with intention. A man grows well in his own company, and even better when he shares that growth with people who match his pace. If that sounds like your last few weeks, it does not mean you are failing. It only means life has been too loud for you to notice yourself. The problem isn't the technology, it's passive escape replacing purposeful living. When he picks even one thing that genuinely feeds him, the whole evening starts to feel like it belongs to him again. He notices the shift when a calm room makes his thoughts line up behind him instead of against him. One 30-minute retreat from every device, a walk, a notebook, an empty chair, becomes a small rebellion. Thoughts sharpen, the day stops leaking through the fingers, and the quieter he becomes, the more he sees this truth. Loneliness doesn't ask for the right woman. It asks for the nearest distraction. The good news is simple. The moment a man chooses even one real activity, the night starts to feel like it belongs to him again. And once that feeling returns, the whole evening quietly strengthens him in a way he can actually use. The identity overhaul. Becoming a man again. At some point, a man stops arguing with the world and starts noticing who he became without meaning to. That alone can wake something up inside. Most men grow away from who they used to be, and that's not a failure, it's evolution. Husband, provider, fixer. When those duties drop off, the mind feels like an empty stage. A man folds a shirt he once wore to please someone else. The pause afterwards speaks louder than any explanation. But here's the truth. An empty stage isn't a loss. It's a rebuild zone. Like catching himself agreeing to something he didn't even want, just because it felt easier than explaining why. He realized he said yes just to avoid one more draining conversation. When was the last time you agreed to something small and felt yourself slip just a little bit afterward? Every time he speaks from his real center, even in small conversations, the whole day sits straighter inside him. And if he's done that for years, it only shows how much he tried, not how much he lacked. If that sounds familiar, it isn't failure. It's the training every man received long before he learned he deserved better. The truth is simple. A man doesn't get smaller. He just gets tired of carrying what was never his. But the moment a man sees it, he stops losing ground and starts getting himself back. So he chooses a few lanes that belong to who he is now, not who life insisted he should be. Maybe it starts with cooking a real meal just to show himself that care still lives here. These tiny acts rebuild a man faster than any big promise ever could. Or learning a craft that gives the hands purpose again. Or picking up knowledge that makes a day feel earned instead of repeated. Confidence stops leaking. His path stops drifting. He senses himself returning, piece by steady piece. And the older he is, the quicker those pieces snap back into place. There's an old Stoic line worth remembering. Decide who you want to be, then let your actions follow that decision. When a man chooses his path first, the rest of life slowly rearranges around it. And the moment he recognizes his own face again, the empty hours lose their story. Carry that thought forward. It leads into a part of the journey most men rarely look at. The personal sanctuary, turning your home into power. Most men think they outgrow people, but they outgrow their own home first. What surprises him isn't the house changing, it's realizing he finally sees it with honest eyes again. One small shift in the room gives a man back more direction than he expects. A clean surface for hosting shows him connection can be simple again. When the nights settle easier, mornings open with a clearer direction. His surroundings point quietly to the next part of himself that's ready to grow. And he sees it now. Wholeness isn't something a new woman can deliver for him. That's not a judgment. It's a signal that he's ready for a stronger version of himself. But that truth isn't an attack. It's an invitation to rebuild the space in a way that supports him, not judges him. It feels quietly powerful when the room finally looks like it belongs to the man he has become, not only to the man he used to be. And the surprising part? A man respects himself differently when the environment he lives in feels built for his growth, not his past. Because the moment a man fixes the space he lives in, he finally sees the parts of himself he hasn't touched yet. And that's exactly where the next shift begins. And once a man sees that pattern, he realizes the next thing that needs rebuilding isn't his home. It's how he invests in himself. Budgeting for self-satiation. Funding your own happiness. Men spend years stepping up for everyone else. That part is universal. But none of that makes him behind. It just means he finally has space to build something for himself too. What catches them off guard is how unfamiliar it feels to finally do something that builds their own strength. He isn't taking from anyone. He's finally adding back to himself. The cashier barely looks up, and for a second, he realizes no one notices the small ways a man rebuilds himself. No occasion, no audience, just something he wants for himself. Once, he spent an hour choosing between two screwdrivers, not because he needed both, but because treating himself still feels unfamiliar. Funny how that small pause feels more honest than half the gifts he's bought in his life. And it's okay. Men aren't taught this part early. They learn it when life finally slows down enough to listen. Men don't crave applause, they crave momentum that proves they haven't stopped growing. Life gets lighter when spending stops revolving around others and starts reinforcing the man's own growth. Like choosing a woodworking class over another night of scrolling, the same money, but it comes back to him as strength instead of regret. A simple budget reminds a man where his energy should go, toward what builds him, not drains him. One line for skills that sharpen the mind. One line for experiences that remind him he's still in the fight. One line for gear that fuels a craft or a passion, not a distraction. Energy rises when money goes to things that build, not numb. Pride returns when purchases land like investments, not impulses. Comfort still has its place, but nothing matches the quiet respect he feels when what he buys helps him grow stronger. Even the late hours feel steadier when the wallet finally reflects a life that belongs to the man holding it. Direction feels cleaner when a man finally funds himself. Self-funded joy is more stable than any validation someone else could offer. Because once a man finally funds his own growth, he realizes the one thing money can't replace, the strength that comes from not carrying life alone. And when a man finally invests in himself, something unexpected happens. He starts looking for people who move with the same direction he's rebuilding. That search always leads a man to the same truth. Strength grows twice as fast when he isn't walking alone. The male tribe network, brotherhood that ends loneliness. You can measure a man's life by one thing, who he can call when something good happens. And admitting that doesn't weaken a man, it unlocks him. The emptiness doesn't come from being single. It often comes from carrying everything alone. He hangs his jacket on the same chair every night, a small routine that hides how long he's been handling life solo. Older men register this more sharply because the world taught them to be self-contained, until self-contained turned into isolated. Isolation isn't strength, it's drift. Independence isn't meant to replace connection. Real brotherhood isn't about loud nights or pointless talk. It is built in 3 layers. The casual friend who keeps things light, the shared hobby friend who keeps life active, and the honest friend who keeps the heart steady. And once those layers exist, a man stops fighting battles in the dark. Stress spreads thinner. Men sharpen faster in good company. It's one of the advantages age finally makes clear. The room feels less loaded. Brotherhood doesn't replace strength. It multiplies it. He steadies faster than he used to. Shared strength has a way of tightening a man's mindset faster than solitude ever did. With real brotherhood around him, he stops looking for a woman to rescue him from the quiet and starts valuing connection for the right reasons again. A man can carry anything, except doing it all alone forever. And there's nothing weak about that. Even strong men regain their footing faster when someone shares the weight. A strong male circle removes a kind of inner void no woman could ever fix, because it reinforces the part of a man that only men recognize. And women aren't meant to fix that part. It's the layer built by men for men. Stay grounded in this second. The shift that comes after depends on it. He realizes something men rarely say out loud. He was never missing power. He was only missing a place to use it. The solo survival trip, proving you still have it. A man knows the moment it happens. Life hasn't tested him in a long time. Days feel smooth, but the edge feels dull. And that realization hits harder than any argument. There is a specific kind of awareness that only arrives when life stops challenging a man. It shows up sharper in men who've carried 30, 40 years of responsibility. The body remembers tests the calendar no longer gives. One thing changes it fast, stepping into something that demands courage instead of convenience. It doesn't have to be a grand adventure, a steep trail he's never climbed, a weekend in a place where phones feel pointless, a quiet place where the world stops asking anything from him. And then something sharpens, fixing a loose strap on the pack, reading the sky for weather instead of checking an app, feeling the pulse rise because the terrain demands attention, not escape. He hasn't felt that kind of honest tiredness in years, the kind that lets a man sleep deeper and wake up clearer. A simple truth lands. What he lacked wasn't comfort. It was friction that wakes his instincts. And that realization isn't a flaw. It's a sign there's still fire in him. He realizes he was never running out of capacity. Life just stopped asking for everything he could actually bring. It feels strangely good to discover there is more in him than the calendar has asked for in years. Confidence doesn't come from praise. It comes from proving he can still rely on himself when the ground gets uneven. The eyes track differently. That shift feels good. Not dramatic, just the kind of lift a man knows he's earned. And once he feels that strength return, he no longer seeks a woman to validate it. He brings it with him. This is the part most men forget. Challenge doesn't exhaust a man, it wakes him. Once a man feels that edge return, the next question comes fast. What is he building all this strength for? And the only real answer a man ever finds is in what he chooses to leave behind. The part of him that outlives the quiet nights. Hold on to that rising strength. The next move turns it outward into a legacy that outlasts every quiet evening. The Legacy Project, making your life matter again. There's a moment in a man's life when something finally becomes clear to him. It might arrive on a quiet afternoon, standing at the sink with the water still running and a thought he can no longer ignore. It doesn't show weakness. It shows he's finally ready for a different kind of strength. But that realization isn't punishment. It's the moment a man finally gets to choose what matters next. It simply means he's ready for the kind of purpose younger men can't understand yet. He has earned a depth younger men simply cannot fake. And that gives every choice he makes a different kind of weight. You can feel it in the smallest pauses. Even washing a cup suddenly carries more intention than it used to. Moments like that remind a man that purpose isn't distant. It starts right where he's standing. He starts paying full attention to the days he has now, and instantly they feel more valuable in his hands. At this age, it's rarely time he's missing, it's direction. That is good news because direction is the one part of his life that is still completely in his hands. Men your age know this feeling well. Life is already full, yet there is still space for something deeply chosen to sit at the center of it. It's recognition, a calm awareness that life should now add up to something bigger. He feels it most in small pauses, like standing at the sink and realizing he still has room to shape what comes next. Legacy isn't about fame or children or having a name on a building. It starts smaller, leaving the world a touch better than it was yesterday. One small action, that's all it takes to shift a man back into himself. Meaning grows fastest when it stops depending on applause. Look around your own place. What's the one unfinished thing that's been staring at you for months? Ask yourself this: when was the last time you finished something just for your own pride, even if no one ever saw it? He sees an old photo frame on the shelf, still blank, waiting for something worth remembering. And meaning always shows up first in the places a man avoids. Even fixing a loose hinge on an old cabinet reminds him he can still leave things better than he found them. Purpose isn't loud, it's steady, and older men are built for steady. And the truth is simple: progress feels better than perfection, especially at his age. Mentoring a younger worker, writing the lessons that cost him years to learn, joining a small volunteer effort that reminds the heart it still has strength to give. There's a new firmness in his decisions, the kind that only rises when purpose replaces drift. A man doesn't chase meaning, he earns it in the dark when no one is watching. And the Stoics had a way of grounding this. What a man does today can echo far beyond him. Small acts leave a long imprint, often stronger than any relationship or praise, because giving makes a man feel alive in a way attention never will. When his actions outlive his presence, even the still parts of his day begin to feel full, not because someone is there, but because his life finally stands for something. If you know your first legacy move, leave it below. Another man might find his direction because of you. Once a man understands what his days should stand for, he cannot ignore the one place he has been giving himself away the most, and that is where the next decision will surprise him. The no dating wall, choosing yourself first. Loneliness makes many men rush toward the next woman, hoping the silence will disappear. But it never works that way. A man deletes a number he knows isn't good for him. He scrolls past a familiar name and doesn't tap it. For the first time in a while, he sees a man who is choosing direction over impulse. Because rushing into the next woman isn't strength. Choosing yourself first is. It's a rare clarity. Men know how uncommon it is. Space doesn't shrink a man. It steadies him. And moving slowly with the next woman isn't hesitation. It's how a man keeps his standards clean. But the men who thrive the longest are the ones who protect their space and still welcome the right people into it. The world always pushes men to get back out there. But the reset arrives when a man realizes he doesn't need romance to rebuild his path. He needs space. A season where nothing drags him away from the direction he's shaping again. A no dating wall isn't punishment. It's protection. 6 to 12 months where the heart isn't negotiating, performing, or scrambling for quick relief. And that pause does something powerful. It lets every lesson from earlier chapters lock in instead of fading like old promises. Confidence rises when the phone stops being a battlefield. Deleting a number really shouldn't feel like winning a small championship, but somehow it does. Focus returns when the evenings belong to personal progress instead of emotional uncertainty. Choosing not to date is sometimes the first real act of self-respect a man has made in years. A man doesn't heal by replacing someone. He heals by returning to the man he stopped being. Every choice lands heavier when it aligns with the future he's building. The mind clears, And this final chapter sets the stage for the truth behind the entire journey. A man who becomes whole alone never fears love again. He chooses it. There comes a point in a man's life when the noise settles, and what's left isn't emptiness, it's truth. It arrives without fanfare, almost respectfully. Nothing in this world is more powerful than a man who finally stands in his own presence without flinching. Not because life got easier, but because he stopped abandoning himself in the seconds that counted. Somewhere along this journey, a shift happened. The routines that once felt hollow began to carry meaning again, and the man who once questioned his worth began to recognize his own weight. There's a steadiness that rises when a man rebuilds from the inside. It simply holds, firm, calm, and unmistakably earned. Some seasons feel quieter simply because they're giving a man room to stand up straighter again. If anything stays with you after today, let it be this: a man is never finished. He keeps returning to himself, refining what stays, releasing what doesn't, and choosing the path his life will honor next. And when a man stands fully in himself again, being single feels less like a gap and more like a clean page. It's a season of clarity, a season where a man learns the rarest skill of all, how to live in a way that feels true with or without someone beside him. That's the kind of life no empty season can outweigh. Because once a man learns to stand this steady, every season ahead becomes a place he can actually build from. Thank you for spending this time here. This is what we build for you on Move or Die Stoic, place where older men can turn quiet seasons into solid ground. If this helped you stand a little taller today, keep this channel close. We will keep shaping work that strengthens the man you are becoming.